Okay, so today I'm talking about leadership in relationships and why it's not on or off, it's 24/7, 365. Let's get into it. Welcome back, listeners and viewers of the Felix Black Show here on both YouTube and the Spreaker application. Spreaker is for the podcast version of the Felix Black Show. It's straight audio for you to listen to whenever you're moving around your house, in your car after a long day at work, or going to work, and for those who enjoy the podcast version. My YouTube viewers, you're here to see the entire experience, the full video, me and all my splendor. So today I'm talking about leadership in relationships and how it is not an on and an off thing. It is something that is 24/7, 365. I am one that believes men are the leaders, men are the guides, the providers, the protectors in the relationship over the entire family. That is our job to do 24/7, 365. And anyone that disagrees with that, I'm sorry you feel that way. But yes, that is a man's role in a relationship. My problem with, and the reason why I'm making this video and reiterating that leadership is not something that we can turn on and turn off, is because I meet women that say they're independent. They want a partner in their relationship. I understand the word partner. I get it 100%. You want to be part of a team. Okay. However, leadership is not something that a man can turn on and turn off. And I don't believe he should do that in the relationship. A man does not get the opportunity, the ability to wake up and say, I don't want to lead my family today. I don't want to be the head of the household today. No man worth anything is going to say something like that. He's going to wake up every day understanding it is his responsibility, accept that responsibility, and love that responsibility to be the leader that everyone depends on. So with that said, as women, we need that support from you all. We cannot have women that wake up one day wanting to be the leader and then one day, well, I don't want to lead today. I will let you lead today. That is the absolute wrong answer. And I'm so tired of hearing this in the dating sphere, whether it be red pill, whether it be blue pill. I don't like that thought process because leadership is not something that I believe you can learn. And let me elaborate on that. Leadership is something, in my opinion, that is innate, that is inside of you. Now, can you hone your leadership skills? Can you make them better? Yes. But if a person wants to be a follower, if a person doesn't have that gene to lead, I don't think that you can give them that gene. I personally don't believe that you can give that to them. Now, you can bring out the leader that someone may not have known was in there because I've seen it. I've done it to other people, but no one ever had to tell me to lead. If anything, being a leader, we understand that sometimes we give other people the opportunity to lead, right? And we're talking work. We're not talking about relationships. You give other people the opportunity and they can't get it done. But the innate leader in me will not let me fail because someone else's leadership is not up to par, right? So with that said, I realized at a very young age that it was something that was innate in me. And I am not one to follow blindly. I will follow, but only in those areas that I don't have the most experience in. Now let's take that back to relationships. I have a lot of experience in different aspects of the relationship. When I talk about leadership overall, I'm talking about taking care of the family, making sure everything is good to go, making those decisions for the family. I don't make decisions, and men who are leaders don't make decisions in a vacuum. They don't do that. They take the input from the family. But at the end of the day, there's a decision to be made. It might not be something that everyone in the family agrees with. Maybe sometimes it's just not going to happen. But you have to see the bigger picture in these decisions being made. And that's where we come into play. Within the scope of the relationship, I've said this before, there are things that I would like my spouse, my significant other, to be the lead in, right? Though I bring in the finances, I'm able to pay for everything. I don't have a problem letting her manage the finances. I don't have a problem doing that. So she's the lead in that. Now, with that, it's not blind because things happen. So I will still look into it to make sure everything's good, to make sure everything's where it's supposed to be, because people make mistakes. I'm not saying she's incompetent, but people make mistakes. Sometimes people forget things. She has a lot going on in her life too. So sometimes we make mistakes. So that's what I'm there for. I'm there as that safety net, but I will let her lead to do that. We have a lot of independent women. There's nothing wrong with being independent. But once you get next to a guy who is the leader, who is the provider, who is that guy, who is him, I am him, you need to be able to take a step back and let him do what is innate to him. Now, if you made a bad decision and you let a guy lead that couldn't lead, that's not anyone else's fault except for your own, because you didn't get that confirmation that he could lead before you let him do that, right? Someone who is able to lead you and guide you will give you that sense pretty quickly. Like, this goes back to the teaching and the letting someone do something to grow into that role, right? In relationships, I am of the belief that you have to show me pretty soon those things that I'm looking for, right? I don't have time to necessarily build you up and to let you grow into those roles. I will let you definitely get better at those roles. But if taking care of finances is not something you're good at, I'm not going to give you the keys to that car. I'm not going to give you the keys to that because you show me that you're not good at that. Could you possibly get better in the future? To me, no. To me, no. Either it's innate in you because I'm an adult now. If I was 20 years old and dating a 20-year-old who hadn't had that experience yet, okay, we're both kind of learning how to manage. But at this point, if you don't know how to manage something or necessarily do something, finances is really big. It's really important. So that's not to say, well, I've never had that experience or I've never had that ability. As an adult, if you are working, if you have a family, you've had that ability to manage finances. So if you are unable to do that as an adult, that's okay. It's just not okay for me. It's not okay for the high value guy, the leader, protector, and that type of person. So I wake up every morning and know that that's my responsibility. I don't get that opportunity to take the day off, nor do I want to. So with that said, I need someone who is going to understand that you are not the leader. You're not the overall, right? And is okay with not being that way. There's nothing wrong with women being the support role. That is very important because we have a lot of things going on. And you guys see things that the leader, I don't necessarily see, input that I don't necessarily have. Because when you're in that role, you're looking at things from a long-term perspective, short-term perspective, but you don't necessarily know the ins and the outs. That's where I depend on my partner for that. But to say, a woman to say, sometimes I want to be led and sometimes I don't, stop that. We're not mind readers, nor should we have to be at this phase, right? You should know what you want. You should know who you are. And then when I present who I am and what I want, either we are compatible or we're not. It's just that simple. You're not going to change. You're not a man who is an innate leader, who this is what he does. He is not going to change that. He is not going to, oh, well, I know you're a leader too, so I'm just going to let you lead. No man who is a true leader will do that. And no man who is a true leader should do that. We can all wear different faces, but being a leader is something that we take seriously. It's very important to us. That's why we would not let the family fail. Failure is not an option, okay? But understand there's a lot of fakes out there. People do fake it. People do say what they need to say to get into the position they need to get into. I can't control that, right? I have nothing to do with that. It is on all of us to make sure that we are evaluating the person that we want to be with, that we are with fairly and thoroughly, right? If you don't do that, you run the risk of making mistakes. And so what that does is now you're afraid to make that mistake again. So you're afraid to date again, and you start to treat every guy as if he's making up for something that your ex did, or you start to treat every woman as she has to make up for something that your ex did. And that's not fair. That never will be fair. And that's not okay. That's not okay. So understand that if you want to get with a leader, if you want to be with a man who is a leader, understand what you are saying. If you are a single woman who is independent and is, who is taking care of her business, that is A1. That is excellent. But if you also have a man that is taking care of his business and he is a leader, he now trumps you in that relationship 100%. The true man will be the leader, and he will bring you in when he should. He will bring you into situations and discussions when he should, when he can. And you have to accept that and have that trust and belief that he is doing what's right for you, himself, and the family. So it's not something that we can turn on or turn off, right? Don't say, well, sometimes I want to be led, sometimes I don't. That's not fair to a leader. And many, and I say many will not let that happen, right? This is not a conditional. You don't wake up and decide today, I don't want you to lead me. I want to be independent. And you need to be independent and be by yourself. Because if that's the case, if you wake up one day and you don't want to be led by your significant other, the man in your relationship, then you don't want to be in a relationship. And that's okay. That is A-okay. But stop saying that it's the man's fault, because it's not, right? Leadership is not 24/7. Leadership is 24/7. It's not something that we can turn on and turn off. Okay. Just remember that. And I just wanted to put that out in a video and just stress the importance talking from a man who is a leader perspective, right? The comment section is always free to have that. Any rebuttals or any situations you may have come across, any experiences that you may have had, to speak on it. But in this topic, there's really not much that's going to change my mind about the topic. It's 24/7. It is. And so that is something that women should value. You should like that. Once you find the one that can lead you, you have that trust, you have that ability, you have the ability to now be the woman and focus on the things that you're able to focus on. That's not a bad thing. That's actually a wonderful thing. But again, like I say, sometimes when we're getting something, we want the opposite, and we may not know how good we have it until it's too late. So this has been the Felix Black Show. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you follow the podcast on Spreaker. Make sure you follow the channel here on YouTube. And make sure you catch all the videos. Thank you.